Hi there, and welcome to Tammy Talk TV, where we share ways to live with purpose, passion, and perseverance. Today we have 4 ways to cultivate healthy habits because it's Reverse Q&A Thursday, and you know what that means. Every Thursday I come to you with a question and I ask you to contribute tips, tools, and techniques to help each other out. Then the following Thursday I return to you and I tell you everything I know about the subject at hand. Since I don't know everything, I also highlight those tips, tools, and techniques that have come in from around our social circle. Then stay tuned till the end of the segment when I will pose a question for next week. But first, a couple of quick programming notes. If you're watching this as a bonus video as part of the Everyday Vacay Cyber Seminar series, just know these reverse Q&As are part of our public YouTube channel. So any comments that you leave here will be public, as opposed to our classroom videos in which the comments are contained to the classroom. And if you're listening to this as an audio download from the TammyTalk.com website, just know that its original format is a YouTube video. And if you want to leave tips, tools, and techniques and contribute to our conversation, just head over to the social tab on the website, choose your social media network of choice, comment away. We look forward to hearing from you. Okay. So let's get started with our 4 ways to cultivate healthy habits. First, we have to deal with the common misconception that we can break a habit. That's just not possible. You don't break a habit, because if you take something out of your life and don't intentionally put something in its place, then you create a void there that you could very possibly fill with something much worse than the original habit. So we don't break habits, we replace them intentionally with something else. To give you just a small example from my own life, back in 1991 I quit smoking. And in 1991 there was no such thing as a nicotine patch, and if there was the nicotine gum, I wasn't aware of it. So I simply quit smoking, cold turkey. And I unintentionally replaced that habit because I would stop by the store every morning, and instead of buying myself a pack of cigarettes, I would buy myself a pound of Jolly Rancher candy. I would dump those in my purse, and throughout the day, I would eat Jolly Ranchers. Well, 60 days and 30 pounds later, yes, I had quit smoking cigarettes. But then I had a pretty serious candy habit to deal with and all that weight to lose. So I eventually replaced that habit with drinking water through a straw. That did a couple of different things. Water has no calories, it kept me hydrated, and it fed that hand-to-mouth habit that smoking also feeds, because smoking is not only a nicotine addiction, it is also a physical addiction. There is a hand-to-mouth habit at play there. Because I was drinking water through a straw, it was feeding that need as well. And to this day, almost 30 years later, I continue to drink water through a straw because that is a healthy replacement to my smoking habit. So just bear in mind, when you have a habit that you want to stop, you don't break that habit. You replace that habit intentionally with something productive. And tip number 2 is to pay specific attention to routines and rituals because they play a very big part in our everyday lives. You may have noticed on YouTube that morning and evening routine videos are very popular, and there's a reason for that. Because those morning and evening routines provide us with a transition from a rest period into an active period, and then back from that active period back into that rest period. So what you do during that transition helps you move from one psychological state into another. So not only are they physical, but they're very psychological as well. And the key to that is timing and structure. So if you do it at the same time and in the same sequence every day and every evening, then it provides not only that physical transition, but also that psychological transition from a rest period into an active period, and then back from our active period into our resting period. However, there is one time frame there that we don't hear so much about that is also very important. The transition from work to home life. Regardless of your schedule, when you make that transition from work to home, it's very easy to carry work home with you. And if you're stressed and frustrated at work and you carry that home with you, it makes you grumpy with the kids and the spouse. And that's not fair because typically they're not the problem. Your problem at work has simply carried over into what's going on at home. So that's the transition that you really need a routine and a ritual to carry you through as well. I've interviewed thousands of people about these routines and rituals, and I've come across some that are very interesting. One woman that I worked with had an imaginary briefcase that she would sit down outside the back door as she walked into her home, and that allowed her to leave that day there at the door and not take it in the house with her. Others take a shower as soon as they walk in the door because it helps them physically wash that day away. I know for me, I can't be stressed in my jammies, so the first thing I do when I come home from a hard day at work is take off my work clothes and put on my jammies, and that helps me make that physical transition from my work day into my time at home with my family. Because my family is not who has me stressed and frustrated most of the time. It's generally something that happened at work, and it's very important that we learn to make that break between our work life and our home life so that we can truly enjoy our family when we get home. So pay attention to those 3 periods of every day. And it's not so much what you do, it's that you do it at the same time and in the same sequence. Now, one of our YouTube friends, Jace Jacobs from over at the Jar of Poetry channel, says that he enjoys kicking off his mornings with a walk. And a walk does a few different things. It gives us that physical activity to get us awake and feel alive. It also gives us a chance to meditate and think about the day that's coming up. And it makes that physical and psychological transition from our rest period into our active waking period. And Nena Lavonne over at the Finding Awesome channel says that she likes to wake up with meditation and yoga. That's her physical tool to move her from that resting period into waking. It helps her wake up both psychologically and physically. And if you want to know more about Nena and Jace's channels, just check the description box below. I'm going to link them there. Now, it is Reverse Q&A Thursday, but if this video drops on time, it is also Thanksgiving today. So we can't talk about healthy habits without talking a little bit about gratitude. And gratitude is a habit, just like anything else. There's this great quote that we are a gardener and our attention is the water. And what we water grows. So if we water stress and frustration, we are simply watering weeds. But if we water gratitude and things that we're thankful for, that is what will bloom. So find things to be grateful for every single day. Now, my favorite way to incorporate gratitude into my own life is you may be familiar with counting sheep before you go to sleep. There's actually a commercial that features the counting sheep. Well, it's a play on that. For me, I count my blessings as I go to sleep, and it helps me go to sleep with gratitude. So that sets me up to rest well and to wake up in the right frame of mind. And if you feel like you have nothing to be grateful for, let me just get you started. If you have abundant food, clean water, and fresh air, then you have 3 blessings that a large portion of the world's population struggles for every single day. And we have it in such abundance here that we don't even think to be grateful for it. So the first 3 things that you can be grateful for are abundant food, clean water, and fresh air. And you can take it from there. I bet there are other things in your life that you can find to be grateful for. So think about that as you go to sleep. Don't dwell on the day's stress and frustration. Count your blessings instead. And tip number 4 comes in from Michael Nagy over at the Artist and Band News channel. Michael says that it's always important to take action and be a leader. And that is one of the most important habits that we can cultivate, is to act instead of react. And that goes back to last week's video. If we just react to everything that happens to us, it makes us a victim of circumstance. Whereas if we take charge of situations and lead them, it makes us the leader of our own lives. And to give you another example from my own life, when my children were small, they would say things like, "I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to leave the door open and let the dog out. I didn't mean to spill that glass of Kool-Aid on the carpet. I didn't mean to set the stove on fire." And my question was always, really? Did you mean not to? Because if you had meant not to let the dog out, then you would have shut the door. If you would have meant not to set the stove on fire, then you would have turned the burner off. If you would have meant not to spill that Kool-Aid on the carpet, then you wouldn't have been running through the house. So it's just two ways of looking at the same situation. You may not have meant to do it, but did you mean not to? And that's just a very simple example of action versus reaction. We have to pull our head out of the sand and see what's coming down the pike at us. And that way we can take the situation in hand and lead it to a successful resolution instead of being the victim of circumstance when the situation goes bad. Okay, so those are 4 simple ways to cultivate healthy habits. And now I have a question for next week. How can I learn from mistakes? Now, I have a few ideas of my own, but since I don't know everything, I need you to contribute tips, tools, and techniques. You can certainly drop them in the comment box below this video, but I know if you're watching on certain streaming devices, you can't get to the comment box below this video. That's okay. Just head over to TammyTalk.com, hit that social tab, and choose your social media network of choice. Then I will come around early next week, collect all those tips, tools, and techniques that you have left across various social media outlets, and I will put them together and return to you next Thursday to tell you everything I know about that subject and highlight the comments that have come in from around our social circle. So remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. And if you're just generally tired and frustrated, click the link below to pick up the free cyber seminar that will explore the causes and the cure. Okay, see you Thursday.